Today, we're diving into the recent buzz surrounding Occidental Petroleum and whether Warren Buffett's involvement has ignited a new spark. Let's get started. Welcome back. Let's get this discussion on Occidental Petroleum started. Thomas, the earnings-driven bounce in Oxy shares raises the question of Warren Buffett's involvement with this. Can you share with us what might be driving this bounce, even if Buffett's role is uncertain?
That's pretty easy. The company is producing large amounts of cash and using it to improve the company's value for shareholders. They're paying the dividend, they're buying back shares, and more importantly, they're redeeming preferred shares. They're buying back debt. That plays into the Buffett story. Berkshire Hathaway owns those preferred shares and is converting the capital into common stock. I think that this is a story that's going to play out over years, and it should lift the stock well into new all-time high territory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the stock bounced up a little bit after earnings, and I think it pulled back a little bit. It's all about crude prices right now. Oxy stocks pulled back, but that's just because of concerns about demand and a recession. It was a bad day for Oxy to have a good report.
All right, let's dive into the Q3 results more specifically here. Oxy's release aligns with other major oil players in that the revenue fell more than 20% on the deleveraging of oil prices. So what's important for investors to note here?
So what's important to note is that despite the decline in revenue and oil prices, the company is still managing to improve its margins and to drive significant cash flow. So the company is ramping production even while oil prices are rising from earlier in this year. It's driving solid cash flows, and they're producing more than guided. So that should lead the market to reassess the future outlook. Even with the reduction in net cash flow, operational efficiency is improving and producing robust free cash flow. And that's what it's all about, that free cash flow, which is being used to redeem those preferred shares and to buy back shares and to pay the dividend.
All right, we can't forget about the dividend outlook. Chris, can you elaborate on how the company is managing its dividend and maybe what potential catalysts could drive share prices higher?
Yeah, well, the dividend's a really interesting point because I remember when Buffett first started buying Oxy back in early 2020, and I kind of was like, that seems like a very un-Buffett-like thing. I mean, Oxy was cutting their dividend. I mean, they went from 79 cents down to like a penny. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this isn't what Buffett does. This isn't what it does. He doesn't do that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it turns out that, he knows something about what he's doing. They've raised their dividend aggressively in the last 2 years. I think it's already back up to 19 cents per share. So, and it's for all the reasons that Thomas said, this is a very well-run company that's committed to shareholder value. And like Thomas was alluding to, oil companies are in an environment where right now, even with prices now getting a little bit below that $80 level, they're fine. They're fine. They're going to be okay. Even as they proved earlier this year, they're okay even with oil prices down in the 60s. Not that I think they're going there, but they're okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas, in your article, you had mentioned that the price action of Oxy is characterized as tepid to warm, with the stock trending sideways within a range. So how might this price movement be influenced by critical support and resistance levels? And if you could tell us what could trigger a significant buying round or a breakout?
Well, so you're right. The stock is moving sideways within a range, but support within that range is solid. What I noticed with Buffett's most recent purchases is that his buying point has moved higher. So he is starting to advance with the market, and that is going to build some upside pressure. As Chris was saying before, oil prices are weighing on the market because energy stocks tend to trade in alignment with the direction of oil prices. But over the long term, as he said, they're still making plenty of cash flow. The outlook for them to continue paying down their debt is good. So I think that it's just a matter of time. And like Warren is not a trader. For him, this is going to be a multi-year play. He still has about 25% of the shares that he's able to buy under his authorization. I think that it'll be many quarters and many years of improvements and slow incremental gains in the stock. It's just a matter of time.
Great insights, guys. Are there any last thoughts that you want to leave us with about Oxy?
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying for a while, Thomas and I both, that $80 is the floor, new floor for oil. The floor is arguably it's looking a little shaky right now, but I still think you want to be in oil and gas stocks. And Oxy is certainly one of the ones that you want to start looking at. It's one of those scenarios right now where if the economy weakens significantly, the Fed will cut interest rates, and that will be bullish for oil. And even if the economy remains right where it is right now and we get this sort of stagflation area, OPEC has said they're not coming to the rescue. So they're not raising production. That means the production is going to have to come from somewhere. And integrated companies like Oxy and Chevron and ExxonMobil are the ones that you're going to want to be in, because they're the ones that are going to have to get the oil out of the ground.
Yeah, right. The view on the oil prices is sideways to up. I mean, this near term, there's some pressure because of some demand weakness in the outlook, but ultimately, without a recession, without actual demand destruction, we're going to keep burning oil. OPEC has capped their production. It gives an opportunity for Oxy and all of the Western producers to ramp their production and leverage those bottom line gains.
Yep.
So I think that Oxy is a great stock to start building a position in. Use weaknesses and tests of support to load up on shares. I think if you get a really big sell-off in the stock, you might see Warren Buffett and Berkshire put a pretty substantial amount of money into that play.
I agree.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me today and for taking a comprehensive look at Oxy's recent performance and all the factors that are at play here. If those of you that are watching this discussion found it valuable, please let us know your thoughts in the comments. As always, we'll be keeping an eye on this stock and many more right here at Market Beat, so don't miss out. Thanks so much, guys.